Welcome to the Driven Moms Answering Adversity interview series, Stories of Success Through Setbacks from Mom Elevated. Together, we can shine a light on how normal challenges and struggles are, along with how we can overcome and rise above them. And today we have Dr. Patricia to share her story with us. I'm super excited to get started. So, would you mind sharing just a little bit briefly about your story to get us started?
Absolutely. Hi, Jessica. It's so nice to be here. So yeah, I'm an integrative women's health practitioner. I'm an MD, and integrative medicine, for those who may not know what that is, it's essentially blending the best of everything, whether that's traditional, natural, functional medicine, all the way to modern, allopathic and diagnostic and sometimes pharmaceutical. But the main philosophy is we want to get to the root cause on why you're feeling what you're feeling. And it's not just about like symptom reduction, but it's also about optimization, which I think conventional medicine is lacking, where there's really a focus on with integrative medicine with longevity, happiness, purpose. So it's really beyond the overwhelm, beyond the survival, and really like thriving in your mission and purpose, whatever that may be.
I
Mhm.
love that. That is beautiful. Do you find that a lot of people come to you that have been maybe ignored or like that people dampen and say that maybe they're not feeling what they're feeling or like just haven't found somebody who will help them discover what's going on?
Oh,
Really?
absolutely. I mean, a lot of times because there are many, like what we call it in traditional medicine, like imbalance. So it's not necessarily a diagnosis yet when it's in Western medicine, but they feel that something is off. But all the labs, all the diagnostics are normal. And so it's dismissed, like there's nothing else to do. But when it's traditional or natural or even energy medicine, there's so much ways how to perceive it, how to approach it. So in this kind of setting, people feel more heard and seen, you
Yeah.
know? It's not very like overly simplistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that integration. Um,
Yes.
so along your story and getting to where you're at, I imagine it was not an easy road, integrating the two and also being taken seriously in that kind of role where you are doing all of the things and not dismissing certain things based on um, specific types of medicine. What
Yeah.
adversity would you say that you have answered, or the biggest adversity along that path, and how did you answer that?
Yes. So I've been in practice for 16 years.
Amazing.
And so, the path was never linear. So I guess the first adversity is my inner work with accepting the fact that this framework, how I can serve women, is not yet very much popular or mainstream in like big institutions. So before I was like, I'm gonna get all these trainings, I'm gonna go, up the ladder, be like the chief medical officer, and then I'll implement all these holistic stuff. And when I realized, you know what, it's really grassroots that connects to people. And it doesn't mean that you're not on this like chief medical whatever position, that you're not creating that impact. So me recognizing that gave me the courage, like, okay, I need to go rogue. So that's the first. But the second was, it's not adversity, but almost like, and I'm sure a lot of your audience can resonate, is that, the story of how motherhood changes us.
Yep.
Like, you can't just be in that corporate, very masculine energy. Like you need to have that space to serve your family, yourself, and others. And you just need to create that environment for you because your needs, your family's needs are unique. And so adversity, but at the same time, a calling, right? To be really um, trusting and surrendering to, I can do it all,
Yeah,
just not how I thought I would do it.
I love that.
Yeah. So the last adversity would be, being a medical doctor, I didn't have the tools how to run a business. Um, And so putting up my own practice, brick and mortar in Tucson, and then going now online and global, I had to kind of change my mindset on not just being a clinician and a health practitioner, but also entrepreneur, which is
Yeah.
very different. But it was exciting, like, very expanding for me. So yeah, those were my three main things.
I think
Mhm.
that's great. Also, I love that you use the word expanding. That's my word of the year this year is
Oh, yes,
expand.
nice.
But
Yes,
it is it's a very intrinsic kind of space to be in the
yes,
entrepreneurial world. You have to go inward in order to actually expand, which I think is really fascinating. And just like you were saying, I love that you were saying that you kind of had to shift what your ideals were. Like you thought you wanted this, but then after you really dove in to what made it operate, you had to shift what you actually wanted because in order to get that outcome, it had to be different. And it didn't mean that it was less than, it just
yes,
meant it was different. It looked different. And accepting that can be huge because I feel like sometimes we attach ourselves so much to the idea of what we thought we wanted that it's really hard to let that go and move into something different. But look at like how it expands, like you were saying, how it
yes,
expands. Look at the possibilities that come up when you are open to that. That's incredible. I think that's
yes,
fantastic.
yeah, absolutely.
What do you think it is about entrepreneurs specifically that makes us continue on when things get challenging or when times get tough? What do you think it is about entrepreneurs specifically that are like, you know what? We're going to go for this. You probably could have found a chief medical officer position that you would have been fit for, that you would have been great, but you're like, nope, this is what my calling is. This is what I have to do, and I'm going to keep going until I get there.
Yes, yes. I love one, working with entrepreneurs, two, being one too, because we are just wired in a way where we want to solve problems and we're driven to, yeah, kind of expand and really look within and challenge the status quo and shape shift all the time. So it's like a very, honestly, aside from parenting, I think entrepreneurship is one of the most spiritual and most um healing path,
That's
because you can't just go strategy. You can't just go like um productivity. There's also a lot of inner work. Like it's the most, I think, holistic way of being in many ways.
yeah,
Uh, so anyway, yeah, I feel like working with entrepreneurs, it's very fascinating because one, they're open-minded to solutions. They're more um, coachable, and because they live kind of in that problem solving life, um they're more motivated and kind of like more flexible and not rigid in their ways, versus like a non-entrepreneur. There's a little bit of mindset that I need to breach through
yeah,
for the experiment on things. It's a completely different demographic, I think. And anyway, so I really love like working with small business owners to multi something figure executives who owns their business. It's just a different conversation.
yeah. That's fascinating. I love that. I never really thought about it in that way, but I guess that's very true. Do you think that being an entrepreneur yourself, does that lend itself well to your practice? Like, do you pull from things that you've learned in the entrepreneurship as
Oh,
well
absolutely.
as
Absolutely. Like now, people come to me for their health symptoms, right? Like their headache, their fatigue, their anxiety. But then I know part, if not majority of the root cause is from how they manage their time and energy with their work.
Yep.
So now that I am an entrepreneur, I could totally see the gaps that needs to be filled and need to be reframed. And I could speak their language now. So it aligns more, like they totally feel that I get them. Um, Anyway, so yeah, yes, so absolutely. It's blending everything. And
Yeah.
some of my patients actually like we do more of like a business strategy rather than health because
Yeah.
that's the root cause, like kind of
Yeah.
people management to like emotional regulation when they're feeling frustrated with their people because that's the root cause with how they're sleeping and energy,
Yeah.
it's all part of the whole.
That's
Not
incredible. But
really,
that
yeah.
can be sometimes the hardest work, right? They
Oh,
just want the
God, yes.
simple answer sometime, and instead it's something that they have to do more. Like you have to get down and say, you have to be open to maybe changing your habits, maybe changing that. Like it's not just a here's a pill, you're gonna be better.
Oh my gosh, yes. Those who come to me like a very simplistic way, like X plus whatever equals with that. No, it's not gonna work. Like it's not as simple as that, like the human body.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, that's fascinating. Oh, I love that so much. What would you say then is maybe an overall takeaway or lesson that other mompreneurs would be able to use specifically from your experience?
Well, I'm currently pregnant, my third. So I'm gonna absolutely source my answer from this. My first pregnancy, um, I'm still very much in the linear, these are the plans, these are the goals.
Yep.
The second pregnancy was a bit of a surprise where it came earlier and it felt like, oh, all my plans are gonna be like it was. I took it like it's somewhat an inconvenience, although of course I wanted to have a baby. We were trying. But the third one is also a surprise, but I've exercised enough and I've appreciated enough and have a lived experience of the unique hormonal to bonding experience being a mother, that the inspiration and the love and the creativity that it brings me is quantum leap.
Yeah.
And it's actually even better than when I am like in my, like normal, very productive phase.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to say to women is instead of viewing our menopause, hot flashes, PMS, or pregnancy where we feel like we're being pulled away from our original goals, is how can you view it as, ooh, this is actually the time where I am uniquely in my power because no man can be a mother. And this hormonal cocktail is the juice that allows us to be so creative, like literally creating life. And that can overflow to all areas of your life, to your business, to your relationships, to your creativity, to your artistry.
Yeah.
So, how can you welcome it and know you will be rewarded when you resist it less? When you actually embrace being a woman.
Yeah.
So I'll stop there.
Okay.
So much fun.
I was encapsulated. I was in there. I was enthralled. That was a very good lesson. I love that.
Yeah.
It is. I also have three children, so it's and it's such a unique experience every time.
Yes.
I don't feel like any pregnancy was the same. I don't think my situation with every pregnancy was the same. So I feel like it's so true when you are more receptive to what that allows. Um,
Mhm.
it's just, it can be such a beautiful and empowering experience.
Mhm.
Even if it's not maybe, even if you have a traumatic experience, what can you take from that? What can you learn? What can you channel from that? I think it's incredible. I have friends who have had some pretty traumatizing situations that they went through with their pregnancy or with their birth, and just seeing how they can flip the narrative or reframe that to be something not as negative so incredible to me, but also just seeing maybe how they embrace what happened and
Mhm.
then, just allow it to be what it was, processing
Exactly.
that and moving forward with that. I think it's just incredibly inspiring to watch other women go through things like that and
Mm.
use it more as a catalyst instead of to keep them down or to say, that's it. That was
Yeah.
terrible. Uh,
Yeah.
so I
Absolutely.
think I think that's amazing. And also I love watching other women who love being pregnant because there are some that just glow, like you look like you're glowing today. So I think it's just amazing to see how many different experiences we can have with kind of the same situation. It's
Mhm.
so different for every single person, and I just think it's beautiful. It's very
Yeah.
unique. Um,
Right. Right.
yeah, so thank you so much for sharing. What is the best way for others to find you if they want to work with you, learn more about you, follow your journey, see what you're doing, be in your space?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on my website. It's called thrivewithdrpatricia.com, or join me in my free community where I do online retreats that are free and see, how I usually coach and work with women. It's called The Thriving Woman in Facebook group. And so, yeah, I hope you find me and connect with me. I always love connecting with people. Mhm.
Absolutely. I'll have the links in the description below as well, but just in case people are listening and not watching where they can grab it easily, they can still hear and find you. So thank you so much, Dr. Patricia, for joining us today, sharing your story. I enjoyed it immensely. I think it's great. And as you know, I was talking to you beforehand. I love the feel of your office behind you. I just think that is so warm and that speaks volumes for how you operate.
Mhm.
So thank you again for joining us today. I always like to end by saying your story is inspirational, but your willingness to be open about it is it's amazing. It's appreciated. It is very much needed in this space. It helps so many people know that they're not alone in the journey. And I feel
Mhm.
like we can take tidbits from everybody else's stories of what will help us in ours. So thank you for joining us. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And then for those of you out there facing your own adversity, know that you're not alone. That's the whole point of what we're doing here. You are not alone. We are here with you. You can reach out to either of us. When you need an extra hand or mind for brainstorming during your mompreneur journey, we would love to work with you through the Mom Elevated Society. You'll find monthly check-ins for goal setting and assessing, and so much more for both your business and your mom life. And please find Dr. Patricia and do her free work and see how she operates. I can already tell it's going to be life-changing for you. So until next time, keep shooting for the stars.